Sejauh ini sih saya lihat dari crowd-nya juga spektakuler ya.
Pengunjungnya banyak ya, dan bervariasi. Waktu bertanya juga antusias, mereka memang benar-benar pengen cari barang, pengen cari solusi lah gitu ya, konsultasi.
Kita sebagai orang yang bergerak di bisnis plastik dan manufaktur jadi dapat wawasan baru nih di sini.
Plastik kan udah mulai dikurangin, jadi solusi dari kita kebanyakan untuk plastik spunbond karena itu untuk recycle-nya lebih gampang.
Hampir semua mesin yang kami pamerkan, hampir semuanya terjual habis.
Kami bahkan ketemu dengan banyak pihak begitu ya. Kan isinya kalau dengan media promosi sendiri ya mungkin terbatas ya. Dengan ini ketemu face to face, bisa janjian, sehingga ke depannya bisa ketemu lebih banyak kesempatan bisnis lah.
Karena di Indonesia ini merupakan pameran terbesar. Dari seluruh Indonesia rata-rata customer ke pameran kita yang di Jakarta.
We have many repeat customers and customers around and also so they introduce their friends to us. This is something very good about PRI. So that's why this is the 4th year, and now we are already waiting to book for next year. Yeah, we're waiting for 2020.
Selamat pagi, selamat pagi Bapak Ibu semuanya. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Bapak Ibu, apa kabar semuanya? Selamat datang dalam Plastic and Rubber Indonesia Tech Talk Week Sustainable Packaging Solution from Mitsubishi Gas Chemical, kolaborasi bersama Mitsubishi Gas Chemical. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu semua yang sudah bergabung dalam webinar kami hari ini. Boleh perkenalkan, nama saya Lydia Citra. Senang sekali pada kesempatan pagi ini saya akan memandu Bapak Ibu sekalian. Baik. Sebelum kita lanjutkan, kami juga informasikan kepada Bapak Ibu sekalian bahwa materi yang akan kami bawakan ini akan dalam berbahasa Inggris. Dan jika Bapak Ibu, namun apabila ada pertanyaan dalam bahasa Indonesia, Bapak Ibu mungkin nanti dapat langsung saja menuliskan pertanyaannya pada kolom chat atau Q&A box, dan nanti akan kami bantu untuk translate. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will conduct the webinar in English. So, should you have any question to any speakers, please do not hesitate to drop the question on the Q&A box, and please state your name and to whom the question you are direct to. However, please allow me to highlight to the opening in bahasa for a while. Sedikit saya ingin memperkenalkan mengenai Plastic and Rubber Indonesia. Plastic and Rubber Indonesia merupakan pameran plastik dan karet terbesar di Indonesia. Sudah diselenggarakan lebih dari 30 tahun, dan tahun ini Plastic and Rubber Indonesia tidak hanya diadakan secara fisik, namun juga digital dan hybrid. Tahun ini pameran akan diselenggarakan pada tanggal 1 sampai 4 Desember 2021. Pastinya berkolaborasi bersama dengan Manufacturing Indonesia, pameran B2B manufaktur terkemuka di Asia Tenggara. Karena kami percaya Bapak Ibu, pameran ini tidak hanya merupakan kunci untuk membangun kembali ekonomi atau berbisnis, namun juga dapat dikatakan sebagai salah satu wadah yang tepat untuk mencari solusi atau bertukar informasi pastinya. Dan dari sisi kami sebagai penyelenggara pameran, selain mengadakan pameran, penyelenggaraan webinar juga merupakan salah satu bentuk solusi untuk saat ini. Untuk itu Bapak Ibu jangan lupa untuk follow LinkedIn atau Facebook kami di Plastic and Rubber Indonesia, seperti yang sudah tertera di footnote layar kaca Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, karena kami akan selalu update platform digital dan sosial media kami, sehingga kami dapat berbagi informasi lebih lagi yang terkini dan pastinya mudah terjangkau serta lebih luas lagi. Baik, sebelum kita masuk ke dalam pokok acara pada hari ini, perkenankan saya untuk menginformasikan beberapa aturan rumah atau yang perlu Bapak Ibu ketahui. Demi kelancaran acara dan kenyamanan bersama, kami informasikan bahwa kami akan mematikan suara atau kamera Bapak Ibu sekalian. Dan sesi webinar hari ini akan kami rekam, dan Bapak Ibu sekalian dapat melihat hasil rekaman selambat-lambatnya 2 hari kerja setelah webinar ini berlangsung. Ya, pastinya dengan mengunjungi website kami di www.plasticandrubberindonesia.com. Kami juga akan mengadakan sesi polling di mana kami memohon kesediaan Bapak dan Ibu sekalian untuk dapat berpartisipasi aktif pada polling ini. Pastinya supaya kami dapat mengadakan webinar-webinar selanjutnya untuk menjawab kebutuhan Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Webinar hari ini juga pastinya akan kita akhiri dengan sesi tanya-jawab. Jadi Bapak Ibu yang ingin mengajukan pertanyaan dapat menuliskan pertanyaannya dengan menggunakan kolom Q&A atau menuliskan pertanyaan Bapak Ibu pada kolom Q&A, dan pastinya menuliskan nama Ibu Bapak, kemudian pertanyaan tersebut ditujukan kepada siapa, supaya lebih jelas. Baik, Bapak Ibu, jika memiliki pertanyaan lebih lanjut, Bapak Ibu boleh langsung saja menghubungi event manager kami di max@pamerindo.com. Bapak Ibu sekalian, webinar Tech Talk pada hari ini kami akan menghadirkan narasumber yang akan menyajikan analisis terupdate dari Mitsubishi Gas Chemical, di mana Mitsubishi Gas Chemical akan membawakan informasi lebih detail mengenai solusi kemasan berkelanjutan. Now, without further ado, please join me to welcome my co-host today, Mr. Albert Rim, Senior Manager Mitsubishi Gas Chemical Singapore. Hi, Mr. Albert. You may
Hello,
open.
everyone. Can't show.
How are you, Mr. Albert? Fine?
Fine,
Good.
fine. Thank you so much for the introduction.
You look so great today. You ready for the webinar, right?
Yes.
I hope you have your coffee ready with you. Thank you for your time today. Now, please allow me to steal a bit of time to introduce the audience, our moderator, Dr. Mas Ayu Elita Hafiza, selaku Kabid Lingkungan Hidup Asosiasi Industri Olefin, Aromatik, dan Plastik Indonesia atau biasa kita sebut INAPLAS. Selamat siang, Ibu.
Selamat pagi, Mbak Lydia. Masih pagi soalnya nih. Masih
Waduh, masih pagi ya, Bu ya. Biasanya saya jam 8 nih, Bu, kalau pagi.
Pagi.
Bu, apa kabar? Pastinya sehat ya, Bu. Semoga selalu aktif nih, Bu.
Sehat, alhamdulillah.
Oke, alhamdulillah. Sudah siap, Ibu, untuk webinar hari ini? Halo, Ibu.
Harus ready. Teman-teman sudah nungguin 12 partisipan.
Yes.
Jadi kita harus ready, semangat buat hari ini.
Semangat ya, Bu. Siap. Terima kasih banyak juga, Ibu, untuk waktunya sudah dapat bergabung bersama kami hari ini. Oke, selanjutnya Bapak Ibu. Next we have our speaker. Please join me to welcome our main speaker today, Mr. Ryan Tan, the Senior Sales Officer Mitsubishi Gas Chemical Singapore. How are you, Mr. Ryan?
Good morning. I'm fine. I'm good. I hope everybody here who join us today is feeling good and well as well.
Sure. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Ryan. Okay. All right. While we are waiting for you to prepare the material, Mr. Ryan, we will have our first polling session. We will back to you shortly.
Sure.
Bapak Ibu sekalian, kita akan mengambil waktu sejenak untuk polling pertama kita. Bapak dan Ibu, kami mohon untuk partisipasi aktifnya supaya kami dapat memberikan webinar pilihan dan bermanfaat bagi industri plastik dan karet ke depannya. Baik, sudah muncul polling question di device Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Apa alasan Bapak atau Ibu mengikuti webinar atau online seminar? Mencari vendor, atau harga, atau mesin terbaru, ataukah mendapatkan informasi perkembangan terbaru terkait dengan industri atau bidang Bapak dan Ibu sekalian? Atau mungkin karena Bapak dan Ibu mendapatkan undangan dari vendor atau klien, kemudian mungkin Bapak dan Ibu mencari peluang sponsor, atau melihat perkembangan kompetitor, dan mungkin ya karena Bapak dan Ibu masih WFH dan sejauh ini masih nyaman melalui digital. Bapak Ibu boleh dipilih salah satu, kemudian klik submit untuk kami tahu lebih lagi jawaban Bapak dan Ibu, dan sehingga kami bisa memberikan webinar-webinar yang lebih bermanfaat lagi ke depannya. Baik, saya masih tunggu. Oke, saya sudah close. Dan ini dia. Terima kasih banyak Bapak Ibu. Mungkin di sini saya bisa lihat karena untuk mendapatkan informasi atau perkembangan terbaru terkait dengan industri atau di bidang Bapak dan Ibu ya. Terima kasih banyak Bapak Ibu atas partisipasi aktifnya. Kita akan lanjut. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, tanpa berlama-lama lagi, mari kita mulai sesi webinar kita hari ini yang selanjutnya akan dipandu oleh moderator kami, Dr. Mas Ayu Elita Hafizah. Ibu Ayu.
Baik.
Silakan suaranya waktu dan tempatnya saya persilahkan. Iya, kedengaran Ibu. Sudah. All good.
Sudah ya. Baik, terima kasih. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera, salam sehat untuk semua yang hadir. Saya lihat sudah banyak dan beberapa juga rekan saya ternyata yang hadir di sini. Welcome. Good morning everybody. Welcome and nice to meet you again at the Tech Talk webinar, event organized by Plastic and Rubber Indonesia Pamerindo in collaboration with PT Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals. Untuk yang hadir sebelumnya mungkin pernah ingat ya kita bicara mengenai perkembangan pigmen dan coloring technology yang begitu berdampak kepada industri plastik. Today kita akan berbicara mengenai sustainability packaging plastik. Bagaimana Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals memberikan solusi terhadap isu-isu plastik yang ada di kita di Indonesia atau mungkin juga di dunia. Before I get started, allow me to introduce myself. I am Ayu. Today I am representing from Inalplast. Oke, tidak perlu panjang-panjang lagi. Welcome to Mr. Albert Lims as a Senior Manager of Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals. We are so glad you could be here today to share your insight and sustainability packaging plastics. And for everybody who attend in this session, feel free to deliver all questions through the chatting, or also can raise hand when the Q&A sessions and after all the presenters are finished. Jadi silahkan untuk memberikan pertanyaan, diskusi, concern terhadap isu-isu yang ada terkait mengenai packaging plastik ini, baik yang dari bahan baku maupun juga produk jadi, ataupun juga mungkin ada bagian-bagian dari OEM, lalu bagaimana kita bisa memberikan diskusi yang interaktif di antara semua yang ada hadir di sini. Feel free deliver in English, also in bahasa, it is good for us. So I will give to Mr. Mr. Lim first, yeah. To give some overview regarding the Mitsubishi chemical plastic.
Thank you so much, Ibu Ayu, and also thanks to the participants today for sparing us your time, as well as thanks to Informer and Parma Indo for organizing this Tech Talk session in PRI. So before we start on the technical details, I would like to share certain information of MGC, Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals. And after that, I will pass to my colleague Ryan, who will share with you technical details of several of our products that we believe will help Indonesia and manufacturers of packaging products in Indonesia to be able to meet customers' requirements, as well as in some way to help them resolve some of the challenges in sustainability, as well as being more environmentally friendly. So, yes, so I would like to actually give some information about Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals. We are part of the Mitsubishi Group, and our feedstock, as the name implies, we originated, of course, with one of the key products, which is natural gas. And I believe people who are in the chemicals industry typically will know that chemical companies whose feedstock is based on natural gas typically were into cleaner chemicals. So in our company at the present moment, post restructuring, we are split into two business units. One group is the basic chemicals business sector, and the other one is the specialty chemicals business sector. Today's information sharing is from the high value products group of the basic chemicals sector, whereby we will share with you specialty nylons, as well as certain new iterations, new grades of these specialty nylons that we will want to also introduce, as well as certain barrier adhesives and coatings. And lastly, we would also like to introduce specialty PETs, high temperature clear PETs, that we believe can also be applicable to the packaging industry. And we will also take the opportunity to share with you MGC's vision and our direction on how we can actually help to participate and also help in the achievement of a more sustainable society using our products. So without further ado, we want to state our company's corporate mission. And the mission is actually to create value to share with society. So our mission is understanding the needs of the times and contributing to sustainable growth of societies. Pursuing the limitless challenge for new technologies, applying the power of chemicals. We are providing a variety of solutions today, and we will keep innovating and supplying new products to enable societies to progress in a more sustainable way. I will now pass the time over to Ryan. I will be coming back again during the Q&A section. Thank you so much. Please, Ryan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Albert and Ibu Ayu for the introduction and for the coordination and moderating this webinar. I hope everybody have had your coffee in the morning, and please let's look into a few topics that we'll be covering today. Today we will be covering a few topics. We'll be looking at, number one, whether plastic packaging is really the troublemaker that the world has portrayed them to be. Number two, next we will also look at what if we can truly be plastic packaging free. Then we will go into how MX Nylon can help in the reduction of the usage of plastics. And finally, we will look at what is Maxif and Altester, as per what Mr. Albert has mentioned, a few different products that we have explained today. So in the current world that we are all living in, food can either be packed in a packaging or just as it is. Unpacked food, while it may be possible to find raw and uncooked food that has no packaging, but has anyone actually found any food that is served that is not packed? Even the cooked food that we have seen is packed in leaves like nasi and gurami, for example, in Indonesia. Generally, food that has no packaging tends to have shorter shelf life. And packaging not only enables shelf life extension, it also enables the transportation. Imagine having to use water skin made from sheep or goat skin to hold water so that you can just to have a drink. Furthermore, in the current COVID situation, having a packaging also helps to ensure the unwanted pathogens such as viruses and bacteria are not found on the surface of the food. Every packaging will have its strengths and weaknesses. The strength of plastic packaging is that it is lightweight and safe. It could be both clear or opaque, making it a very versatile material, rigid or flexible. Furthermore, plastic packaging have also enabled the sealing of food packaging, thereby enabling and allowing the food to keep its quality, taste, and color. If there's one thing in this webinar that you will take away, I hope that you will remember that plastic packaging is a friend in our life and not a problem. Sure, plastic waste is a problem, but if you look deeper into the problem, you will notice that there are other factors causing this issue. So if you would like to have more discussions on this problem, we have to take it offline because it will take at least one whole day just to discuss all these various things. But nonetheless, we are here today to share with you the advanced packaging solution from MGC. And this solution works on three fundamentals. Number one, increasing the shelf life of the product, which will reduce the food loss and food waste. Number two, using a higher barrier material to reduce the amount of plastic used without affecting the quality of the food produced and thereby reducing the amount of plastic waste generated. And finally, reduce the carbon dioxide emission by using less plastic or lighter packaging material, making it more fuel efficient during transportation. All right, so just now we have answered the question, is plastic a friend or a foe? And now let us look at the amount of greenhouse gas emission from each of the products that we produce. Food has to be produced for humans to be consumed unless we get it from the wild. And many a times, we have heard many times that plastic is the biggest cause of global warming. However, let us now take a look at all this to consider if it is truly the problem, because most of the time people talk about plastic being a problem because they come from the mining of petrol, which is very detrimental to the environment. The data that we'll be looking at will be coming from this scientific online publication called Our World in Data. And this organization mainly focuses in large global problems. In this chart, you will notice that the activity is color coded. Green stands for the land use change, brown stands for farming process, orange stands for feed, and gray stands for packaging. Let's take a product that can be manufactured or produced in Indonesia, for example, beef or palm oil. As you can see, The bulk of greenhouse gas emission comes from the farming process, which is color-coded in brown, as compared to packaging that is in gray. Likewise, if you look at the palm oil, which is highlighted, sorry, let me just zoom in a little bit. Palm oil, which is over here, you notice that all this, in most of the time, most of the greenhouse gas emission comes during the production of this process. But of course, under packaging, we have other materials such as glass, I apologize, and aluminium, which may portray different amount of greenhouse gas. But as a whole, these values are still much lower as compared to other processes. Therefore, regardless of the type of packaging material used, packaging acts as a solution. Packaging acts as a solution and not a problem for this environment. Therefore, we should be looking at how to extend the shelf life of our food product, not through the use of preservative, but through the use of packaging, allowing the food to reach to all the unfed people. Because in the world that we are living in, it is reported that we have produced enough food to feed the entire global population. But more than 690 million people are still going to bed hungry. So by reducing the amount of food waste, you are able to reduce the amount of effort. You're able to increase the ability of these farmers, that the effort that they have put in to farm, and pass it on to people to solve this hunger issue. And furthermore, it also helps to reduce the amount of greenhouse gas emission. And thus, we will now look at the packaging as a solution and not a problem, and how our advanced materials that MGC is able to provide and work on. So as mentioned earlier, advanced packaging solution from MGC works on the fundamentals on ensuring food security and availability by reducing food waste and food loss through shelf life increment and reducing food carbon dioxide emission. At the same time, ensuring food safety by enabling food sterilization while retaining food quality and reducing in preservative additives. No one likes preservative, which is why when the shelf life of the food is longer than our common perception, our misconception is that there is a lot of preservative in it. But how many people have actually considered the shelf life of the food is due to the packaging that the food is packed in? All this allows the brand owners to market products at higher value easily. Now, I will first talk about the first innovative barrier material for Mitsubishi Gas Chemical, MX Nylon, a gas barrier polyamide resin. What is MX Nylon? MX Nylon is MGC Mitsubishi Gas Chemical innovative barrier packaging material, which provide excellent gas barrier properties. It has also compatible processing range with other resin, which I will share in more details later. Other properties such as high tensile and flexural strength allow it to make films and bottles more rigid. And finally, excellent chemical resistant property enable the usage in non-food application as well. So one of the most common misconceptions up to today is still that moisture is the main cause of food spoilages. For example, if we looked at growing of mold in bread. However, if we study deeper, we will realize that oxygen is the actual troublemaker where food turns colors. Bacteria growing on food surface causing spoilages not only require moisture, but also mainly oxygen depending on the type of bacteria. We have not included olefin packaging because oxygen barrier properties of this packaging is close to zero. Here, we look at other common materials such as PET, nylon 6, and MX Nylon. Oxygen permeability means how much oxygen will pass through the packaging and is usually affected by the plastic type, the thickness of the film or the packaging, and the size of the packaging. Over here, we have standardized the thickness and the size of the films so that you will notice that they are all on the same they start from the same starting point. You will notice that the oriented PET film has about 7 cc per meter square per day of oxygen permeability as compared to oriented nylon 6, or more commonly known as OPA film, has oxygen permeability of about 0.7 cc per meter square per day. And films made from MX Nylon has oxygen permeability of about 0.06 cc per meter square per day. So what does all this value mean? Assuming that the film thickness is the same and an oxygen concentration of 10 cc is required for the food to start to turn bad, it will take about 2 days, mathematically speaking, for the food to turn bad in PET. But when packed in OPA, it will take about 10 days. And when packed in MX Nylon packaging, it will take more than 3 months. All these numbers sounds nice, but it is not a one fixed solution for all the products, because different food goes through different process and have different formulations and have different method of cooking. So all this food will have to be tested at the end customer's position to see how it actually performs at the customer's point of view. So in my earlier presentation, I mentioned that MX Nylon has a wide processing temperature that is suitable with various materials. Over here, you can see that MX Nylon is able to process with other materials such as PET, Nylon 6 and 66, and also PE and PP, which is the olefin area. So all this being said, MX Nylon is a solution for sustainable food packaging, food and beverage packaging. MX Nylon has, now we will talk about the application of MX Nylon so that it will be easier for everyone to understand how the product can be used. For example, in PET bottles, in films, or in sheet cups. The goal of using MX Nylon is again to reduce food loss, food waste, and reduce plastic waste, and also reduce carbon dioxide emission and be the solution of sustainable food and beverage packaging. So let's talk about the first application, PET. For PET bottle, it can be used as a blended solution or a multi-layer solution. The properties of the bottles when using different technologies are slightly different, but in both solutions, MX Nylon is able to extend the shelf life by increasing the gas barrier. In the case of a carbonated soft drinks or CSD, it is able to slow down the gas volume or GV loss. In the case of teas, it is able to slow down the amount of oxygen that is entering, causing the teas to change color. In blend technology, by comparing the two different technologies, in blend technology, we have found that shelf life can be extended by 1.8 times in our test, and in a multi-layer solution, up to 2.4 times. The advantage of the multi-layer technology bottles allows the bottles to actually be transparent. Furthermore, MX Nylon is also compatible to the design guidelines of bottle-to-bottle recycling in Japan, Europe, and the US. So as mentioned just now for green tea, it was found that by using MX Nylon in green tea, we are able to reduce the color change in green tea as compared to PET as shown. By storing green tea in normal PET bottle versus the barrier PET bottle made from multi-layer technology with MX Nylon, we are able to reduce the color change 9 months later. Although taste will also change, but as a consumer, color is more obvious because when you buy a bottle, you will first make a purchase based on what you see before you can actually open the bottle to taste the tea. Likewise, currently in the market, plastic waste is a problem that everybody is looking at. So therefore, lightweighting bottle has always been a common idea to be more sustainable. However, when chasing after lightweighting bottles, product shelf life tends to decrease as a result of lightweighting. In this case, when using MX Nylon, we are able, because MX Nylon is able to extend the product shelf life, we can actually lightweight the bottle from 26.5 grams to 20.5 grams in blend bottles while retaining its original shelf life, or even extending the shelf life of the bottles when you lightweight by going towards multi-layer technology. Now, with the current market where people are starting to look at the use of rPET and other concerns by the brand owners, such as acetylene aldehyde, also known as AA, and formaldehyde, known as FA. All these chemicals can actually leach out to the drinks, which is a problem. We all know that formaldehyde is not good for us, but acetylene aldehyde is also not good for the human body. Most people will question why AA and FA is a concern. This is because AA and FA can cause taste change. However, by using smaller dosage of about 0.5% of MX Nylon, we would be able to achieve a 23% reduction in the AA content, and formaldehyde is not detected, therefore keeping the taste of the beverage and making it safer for the consumer to drink. MX Nylon can also be used in film application. One of the growing trends in food processing is the use of retort process, where the food is packed and heated to 110 degrees for 30 minutes. In this example, we will look at tuna that is packed. Tuna is packed in other barrier materials and into a nylon-containing nylon bag. Both bags undergo a retort process at 110 degrees for 30 minutes and stored for 14 days. After 14 days, we notice that the color of the tuna floss that is packed in MX Nylon show little to no color change. This is because the packaging have problems withstand, most other packaging materials have problem withstanding such high temperature process. But this is not an issue with MX Nylon because after retort, other materials may have a drop in barrier property, whereas the barrier property of MX Nylon does not change. At the same time, when MX Nylon is added into into all these different flexible packaging, it is also possible to achieve easy care and straight cut nylon films. Now, let us look at mango, a common fruit in Southeast Asia here. Again, the mango is packed into a barrier tray and with other MX Nylon containing PP sheets. Both trays go through a pasteurizing process, which is at 85 degrees for 30 minutes and stored for 1 month. 1 month later, it was noted that the mango packed in MX Nylon containing PP sheet is brighter as compared to other barrier materials. Here, the reason why the mango goes through a pasteurization process is to kill germs to extend the shelf life, enabling the customer to ship it to further countries, further locations. Whereas in Southeast Asia, most of the time, fruits that we eat can be fresh. However, when you look at the packaging, fresh pasteurized fruit, you'll notice that the barrier materials actually affect the color of all these products directly. So once the color changes, the oxygen barrier property can actually be affected, therefore resulting in the color change. So having a higher barrier property will allow the brand owners to have a more natural color product, which allows them to sell the product at a higher value. So other than food and beverage packaging, which I've been talking for so long, MX Nylon can also be used in personal care and chemical packaging. Usually, bleach or sodium hypochlorite is stored in HDPE bottles, which is commonly found in Southeast Asia. However, recently, due to the lightweighting consideration by one of our customers, they were thinking of changing from HDPE bottles to PET bottles. But the biggest problem is 100% PET bottles is unable to store this product, the bleach, or sodium hypochlorite for more than 3 months due to its chemical resistance of the PET. Therefore, we have worked with the customer to enable them to switch from HDPE bottles to PET bottles with the help of MX Nylon. The customer during their trials have found that after using MX Nylon, the PET bottles does not crack, even if it has been left in the shelf for 12 months at elevated temperature of 40 degrees. Next, MX Nylon has also been used in other applications such as ink bottles and industrial pesticides, where solvent barrier is required. MX Nylon is also being used to increase the stiffness and the rigidity of HDPE multi-layer bottles that is made through extrusion blown molding. By changing the the nylon 6 layer into a blended nylon 6 with MX Nylon blend layer, this has helped one of the customer resolve their paneling problem due to the high tensile modulus that MX Nylon imparts. At the same time, MX Nylon has also shown better odor barrier. Sometimes, certain products, such as fragrance, are packed in flexible packaging. Some of the common fragrance are like limonene, which is the fragrance of orange, and vanillin, which is the extract of vanilla beans. This fragrance can permeate through packaging if the packaging does not have good barrier. However, in our test, we found that we are able to extend the shelf life of such common fragrance by more than 2 weeks when MX Nylon is being used in the packaging. So now everybody will start to worry. All these food applications, do we have food safety regulation? We are pleased to inform that MX Nylon has also obtained various food safety regulation for packaging to be used in Japan, US, Europe, and also in China. Now, let's talk about the big topic that everybody has been talking about, sustainability. Being a chemicals company, we endeavor to contribute to sustainable society through material development by enabling responsible consumption and supporting the climate action. Therefore, we are examining on areas where we can improve the recyclability of our material, developing bio-based material that is from non-food source, and finally, through the use of renewable energy and working on a mass balance approach to reduce the carbon dioxide emission. In view of the current sustainability discussion for recyclability, Mitsubishi Gas Chemical has joined the R+ Japan Company Limited, which is facilitating the recycling of used plastic for a more sustainable society. In this recycling consortium, you will find various companies ranging from various industries such as chemicals company like ourselves to film packaging manufacturers such as DMP, to preform makers such as Wokan, and finally, even to brand owners such as Suntory and Asahi. All these companies work together to enable the use of advanced chemical recycling. In most parts of the world, plastic waste are generally collected and incinerated in a waste-to-energy plant, or like Indonesia, undergoes a mechanical recycling. However, R+ Japan is working with NLOTech to develop a chemical recycling or advanced recycling process where plastic products are converted back to their chemical feedstock, which can later be polymerized and made into a new plastic material. The difference in NLOTech technology is that it is easier to recycle back to plastic by shortening its process. This technology is also expected to reduce the carbon dioxide emission and the amount of energy required, thus making it more environmentally friendly. They have been having some good result in NLOTech, and they are planning to commercialize this technology by 2027 to help to solve the global challenges associated with plastic waste. Next, we are also pleased to inform that we have developed a bio-based polyamide resin known as LTester. The feedstock of this product, it is important to know that the feedstock of this product is from non-food source. LTester has a good oxygen barrier property similar to nylon 6 and excellent chemical resistance. In this case, you will see that most of the time, this is a multi-layer conventional nylon 6 combined with MX Nylon film. The biomass degree of this film is 0%. However, by using this solution from MGC LTester, we are able to help the company increase their biomass degree in their packaging while keeping its typical property in a nylon 6 film. Therefore, the sustainability roadmap of MX Nylon is to achieve zero greenhouse gas emission and renewable material so as to achieve a more sustainable society through the management and reduction of carbon dioxide emission, improvements in the recycling technology, and the use of bio-based material that is from non-food source. In conclusion, for MX Nylon looks to increase the shelf life of the product, reducing the food loss, increase food safety, and make it more sustainable for the world. Next, I will talk about our second product, Maxif. Maxif is a gas barrier adhesive resin that is meant for flexible packaging. Maxif is a gas barrier adhesive that provides excellent gas barrier properties with vacuum metallized films. In the current world, where monomaterial packaging is a topic of interest, the biggest problem faced by such monomaterial packaging is that it is difficult to achieve the same gas barrier properties as other complex or hybrid film. Therefore, by enabling high barrier properties in monomaterial film, we are able to reduce the food waste and food loss, enabling plastic waste reduction and the reduction of carbon dioxide emission. In this example, through the use of MX Nylon, So over here, we can see that having using a Maxif film, we are able to increase the barrier properties by more than 1,000 times in oxygen barrier while keeping its water vapor and peel strength property. At the same time, if you notice over in the table, you could also use a thinner adhesive to achieve a higher barrier property as opposed to the traditional polyurethane-based material, thereby allowing you to have a thinner film. Next, in this example, we will show, likewise in the case of MX Nylon, we will show the color of tuna packed in a packaging using Maxif and polyurethane-based adhesive. You will notice that the color change of tuna is minimum when the adhesive used is Maxif because it has a higher barrier property. Therefore, Maxif aims to enable high gas barrier monomaterial packaging, providing a solution for sustainable packaging. Finally, we have come to the last product that Mitsubishi Gas Chemical would like to offer. This is Altester, a heat-resistant polyester resin. Altester is an amorphous polyester which has high heat resistance of up to 100 degrees C and is highly transparent. It is also compliant with various safety bodies globally. It is also compatible with other materials, making it easy to process with all these various materials. As you can see, the glass transition temperature of Altester are all above 100 degrees. So what does the high glass transition temperature means? The main application for Altester is in its high temperature requirement, where you could actually consider for glass replacement. One of the most common problems with PET is that it deforms when a hot liquid is poured into it, as shown on the left. However, when exposing Altester bottles to hot water of up to 100 degrees, you will notice that there is no change in the dimensions that the bottle is made from. Because of its high light transmittance of above 90%, a highly transparent container can be obtained, making it a suitable glass replacement. At the same time, it also offers UV blocking at under 360 nanometer wavelength. Like MX Nylon and Altester, like MX Nylon and Maxif, I apologize, Altester has also various compliance for the safety. As you can see, MGC, Mitsubishi Gas Chemical, believes when a product is meant for food and beverage application, safety is on the top of our mind. As per what I have mentioned for MX Nylon, with the talk of increasing rPET usage, Altester can also be used to make, together with rPET, to provide a higher heat resistance of up to 80 to 85 degrees. Thus, Altester enables high temperature application, like as a replacement for glass container, without the disadvantage of heavy weight and brittleness that the glass brings about. Currently, these are some of the glass replacement applications of Altester. For example, your heat-resistant jar, your microwavable dishwashable package, and your jelly container. Altester also strives to be the solution for sustainable packaging. With this, I have come to the end of my presentation. Over here, you have 3 QR codes representing each the different products, MX Nylon, Maxif, and Altester. And at the bottom, you have another QR code where you could actually get in contact with us. And we will come back to you with every, and you can feel free to contact us, and we will try to support you for any inquiries that you may have. Thank you, Mr. Albert and Ibu Ayu.
Thank you.
Over to you guys.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Ryan, and it's great explanation regarding how Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals can follow. Okay. To start. Okay. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. It's great explanation how Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals can follow the global requirement regarding the sustainability issue. Then we can go straight more hires, go to the circular economy, and also probably industry revolutions for 4.0. So I believe all of the people in attendance, there is some concern, some questions, but before we start for the question and answer sessions, I will give to the Miss Lydia first to deliver us for the second polling. So I will ask Mbak Lydia to start.
Baik, terima kasih banyak Ibu Ayu. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Bapak Ibu sekalian, sebelum kita lanjut ke sesi tanya jawab, kami akan mengambil waktu sejenak untuk polling kedua kita. Bapak Ibu sekalian, kami mohon untuk dapat kembali berpartisipasi aktif di sesi polling kedua kita. Before we proceed to Q&A session, we will take a moment for the polling session. Please actively participate on this second polling. Baik, sudah muncul pertanyaan di layar device Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Has Mitsubishi Gas Chemical presentation been useful to you? Yes, I would like to find out more, and no. Bapak Ibu boleh pilih salah satu. Dan kami akan close untuk polling session. Terima kasih banyak Bapak Ibu sekalian untuk kesediaannya. Wow, luar biasa. Karena semua informasi dari Mitsubishi sungguh berguna bagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Baik, selanjutnya Bapak dan Ibu, sekarang saatnya kita akan masuk ke sesi tanya jawab. Bagi Bapak Ibu yang memiliki pertanyaan, mohon dapat langsung menuliskan pertanyaannya pada kolom Q&A atau klik raise hand untuk kita bahas secara live bersama Ibu Ayu dan para panelis kita. Dan saya informasikan juga, jika Bapak Ibu menuliskan pertanyaan pada kolom Q&A, mohon juga dituliskan nama Bapak dan Ibu serta pertanyaannya ditujukan kepada siapa. Baik, untuk selanjutnya saya serahkan kembali ke Ibu Ayu. Silakan Ibu Ayu, terima kasih.
Ya, baik, terima kasih. I have make summary for some question as delivered. So I will share the screen regarding for the question list. So Mr. From the team from the Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals can answer one by one. Okay, allow me to open my slide. Okay, first this question and another question. So you can start from the first slide. Probably Mr. Lim or Ryan or other teams from Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals.
Yeah, so I will answer the questions. These are commercial questions. So price-wise, we will be able to actually inform of the price after the webinar. It is a different pricing compared to PET or normal nylon. So it's actually a few factors, maybe three times more expensive than normal nylon. But please understand, these products are actually used by all the global brands where cost is a big issue. And the reason why it is used is because the dosage that is used, if you saw the information from Ryan, for MX Nylon, we are talking about being able to absorb some leachables at 0.5%. And we are able to show shelf life extensions from a low dosage of 3, 5 to maybe 7%. And this 3, 5 to 7% can actually help brand owners to be able to extend shelf life of maybe even up to 280%. So this 280% based on a 5 or 7% dosage, the cost benefit, the benefits outweigh the cost substantially. And also, if you saw Ryan's information, the adoption of the MX Nylon technologies can be done in 2 methods. One method is a very low cost method where preform manufacturers or even brand owners with their injection machines are able to use the MX Nylon just by dosing the MX Nylon into the PET material itself. There is no requirement for a very expensive new injection machine. You can just use the existing injection machine and you're able to dose it with a doser into the injection line. It is very similar to a solid color master batch dosing, except the dosages are higher. So the cost of adoption is low, and also the results, the benefits, 280% shelf life extension is incomparable to any solutions that are available with plastics, pure plastics, monolayer or multi-layer package. Second question, with regards to origins, actually MX Nylon is actually a proprietary product. At the moment, we are the only big scale, commercial scale manufacturer of MX Nylon. And manufacturing sites are mainly in Japan, but we also have a manufacturing site in the US. So it also depends with the requirements of certain global brands. There are probably certain requirements where we have to follow APR, American Association of Plastic Recyclers, where there are certain requirements for the products to have some change or altered formulation, and those grades might have to be shipped from US. Alternatively, the standard grades, bulk of the grades are actually from Japan. I also want to state the products like Maxif as well as Altester. As mentioned earlier, they are able to increase heat resistance, or they are able to extend or increase oxygen barrier properties, and it can be achieved with even thinner adhesive layers or adhesive coating, barrier coatings. So the cost per kilo can be high, but the actual consumption of the material as a ratio of the packaging, total packaging weight is going to be minimal. So the benefits outweigh the costs in most of these cases. Thank you, Ibu.
Okay, next. So you can start answer one by one of the questions delivered in the slide before we go to another questions. So many questions I received now.
Oh, okay. So second slide, what are the major parameters to determine increasing shelf life? So this is a very interesting question, because it is not the shelf life of the polyamide, but the product. So as MX Nylon is used in multiple applications. For the food and beverage applications, actually bulk of the applications are in the preform applications, ISBM applications, also IBM. I think probably around 50 to 60%. How do we measure the shelf life extension? So actually, for CSDs, carbonated soft drinks, and this includes sparkling waters as well as the colas, etc. And I believe Indonesia is very interesting because Indonesia has carbonated teas. Yeah. So the measurement for CSDs, carbonated drinks, is actually something called CO2 gas volume. And actually, the shelf life is measured over the amount of gas volume loss, how much CO2 has been lost over time. There's a minimum floor, acceptable level where the products can still be sold. So MX Nylon actually has been proven globally as well as in Indonesia that we are able to protect or reduce the amount of CO2 loss in global brands. And in Indonesia, we have a very special experience. We were the material supplier that enabled the sports drink, the oxygenated waters in Indonesia to be commercialized. MX Nylon was the solution to retain O2 that was fused into the liquids for sports drinks in Indonesia. I think the program started long time back. We were the first to enable a local big brand for the projects to be launched in Indonesia at that point in time. So mainly it is for CO2 and O2 barrier. And at the same time, I think for other beverages, there's also a trend towards beverages, which is things like dairy, coffee, teas, juices, etc. So in those products, actually, most of the qualification is done, or shelf life qualifications are done using something called the vitamin C count. Most of these beverages, if it's juices, there is a vitamin C content that can be measured that will degrade over time in the presence of oxygen. This is actually a little bit different than the measurement of color. For a lot of beverages, there's also this requirement for visual impact, whether there's a darkening or browning of the liquid, or and most of the time it is browning, or it can be also due to the paling of the colors. But one key non-visual measure is actually the count of vitamin C. I hope that answers the question. And I also want to bring up something that Ryan mentioned. It was not highlighted sufficiently. It was stated once or twice. And this property is about retort shock heat stability. So in the world of packaging, especially in Indonesia, where a lot of the bulk of the films are based on olefins, or bottles, EBMs are based on olefins, the way people market their bottles as being retortable, it's based on a mechanical, physical shape retention. But actually, these bottles do not provide a sustained barrier property with multiple heat exposures. So MX Nylon has been proven to be the product of choice as a barrier material, especially in cases of hot fill, in cases of retort, in cases of pasteurization. MX Nylon is able to withstand temperatures from pasteurization all the way to retort. And this is especially so because the main reason is because MX Nylon in itself is actually a high temperature engineering polymer. It is actually used other than in food packaging. I mentioned maybe food and drinks is like 50–60%. Bulk of the applications other than that is actually used in electronics. You can actually find these materials with glass fiber, replacing metal, stainless steel in your cars. In Indonesia, it's actually sold in big volumes. It is used to replace the metal that is used for your side mirror chassis, used for your rear mirror chassis, used for parts in your car handles and even your safety locks. And the reason is because it is able to have very strong mechanical strength as well as heat strength. Actually, with the incursion of glass, it has probably one of the highest tensile modulus in the world. I hope that helps to answer the question. And of course, with the result of that, MX Nylon, when blended with nylons and when used as a material in a multi-layer structure for the flexibles, is of course able to help in the provision of a pinhole resistance for the packaging of food or even beverages in Indonesia. Second question, I'm sorry it took a lot of time, but I think those information would be beneficial to all.
Sure, yeah, that's what we need.
Yes, second question, how do you measure and monitor thermal stability? So we do thermographic, we do TG analysis, and as I mentioned before, it has been proven that MX Nylon can withstand retort.
So only depend on for thermal gravimetric analysis,
Yes.
CG. Okay.
Yes. It is a high temperature engineering polymer, unlike alternative solutions, which are probably olefin based or alcohol based. Third question, is it safe for food and beverage? So I think Ryan mentioned in the PPT that the product is actually approved by multiple locations. So there are two kinds of qualifications we are talking about. We are talking about food safety qualifications as well as recyclability qualifications. So the food safety qualifications has been there for the past maybe 10 or more 20 years. We are CFR qualified. So, and the CFR dosage qualification is very high. It can be up to, I think, 8 or 10%. So there's no issues with leachables. All the tests has been done in US and we are qualified. And at the same time, when I mentioned about the recyclability qualifications, so the recyclability qualifications are also now coming into place. I want to highlight we have a lot of conditions attached, sadly. So we are approved by APR, by EPBP, and of course Japan for also certain dosages of MX Nylon into the packaging that can be recycled, and it will not affect the recycling stream for PET. I hope the information helps. And I think you saw in the last slide for Altester that actually Altester can also help in the mechanical and the thermal properties as well as the optical properties of rPET if it is actually dosed, if Altester is dosed into rPET when it's being reused. So that might be an interesting solution as well. And I think Ryan mentioned something about MX Nylon having a unique property. So actually MX Nylon, if dosed at 0.5%, can also help in the absorption of AA and FA in rPET. So this is very interesting. So if there's a trend towards using rPET, but because rPET, as everyone knows in Bahasa, is made from oil, minyak. So repetitive heat exposures, of course, cause a degradation to oil-based products and the leachables start to occur. Actually, a small little dosage of MX Nylon is able to absorb and proven to absorb some of the leachables like FA and AA. It actually helps to retain the taste of the products and not let it be affected by the leachables. And I want to say something that's a little bit different to the question. I'm sure everybody in the past were imagining that glass is the perfect solution. The truth is glass is not. The carbon footprint for manufacturing glass and the resultant groundwater contamination due to the heavy metals and the processing of glass, it can go up from sintering process 5,000 to 7,000 degrees. And the amount of carbon, high calorimetric coal that you need to use is incredible, right? And so the carbon signature of glass, if the global industry accepts only one shape, it's fine. But sadly, it doesn't. If you need to customize shapes, I don't think glass is a good solution. And lastly, I want to highlight actually, if there are people here who are from the pharma industry packaging, everyone knows that now glass, because it is from sand, and sand in the whole world actually came from the oceans, even if it's up somewhere in the Gobi Desert or somewhere. The problem is the leaching of sodium chloride. So actually salts are leached from glass into pharmaceutical products, and there's a general trend for the pharmaceutical industry to move away from glass, especially now because source of glass silica has been not been so clean. Yeah. Next question, and I think these are additional questions. Fourth question, biomass degree. So with the adoption of non-food source bio-based nylons from us to replace a percentage of the nylons from fossil fuel, we are confident that you will achieve a certain degree of mass balance, reduction of carbon footprint. So, but again, the calculations are still being worked out globally. I think the global standards are still not clear, but we are quite certain that non-food source bio-based feedstock, which can be the plantation, right? The growth can be restarted, etc., can be planned. I think it's a feasible solution in terms of sustainability.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you can confirm that biomass degree also can reach for any kind of formulation, even though there's any kind of additive and kind of an organic or organic filler. So you confirm that it's can applicable. That your product.
From our experience is actually based on replacement of nylon 6. So we are working with a barrier film
Okay, you
manufacturers.
make comparison specifically for nylon 6 only.
Yeah, for barrier packaging, nylon flexibles or nylon rigids or semi-rigids.
Okay, good. So very comprehensive explanation before I continue. So I have to stop the share screen because I still have no time to collect all the question was just delivered right now. Okay, sure. I stop first, then we go to the question and answer list.
Yes. I'm also very grateful for the questions that came in. I was a little worried just now. I was thinking Indonesians are very shy, but I'm glad that.
Oh, yeah. We have so many issues to be delivered for today. Support to you and your teams. Okay, first from Budi Silalahi. Okay, you can answer because it is written in English.
It is okay. Give me a second. Is it okay? It's in the open questions, right? Not the answer questions. Open questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you read it, or I need to?
Yeah. So based on presentation, please inform about MX Nylon and that's appropriate for use in Indonesia, because I'm not seeing SNI standard and only use based on mentioned standard only. Actually, we are not familiar with SNI, but I want to state actually in MX Nylon has already been sold in Indonesia for domestic market, for gassy drinks, as well as for sports drinks. Some of it is for the domestic market, and some of it is also for the made in Indonesia but export market to the Far East. At the same time, MX Nylon blends with PET has also been used in the application of marker pen holders, containers. So ink containers. It's also commercialized. And these businesses, I'm not talking about recent. Most of these businesses started maybe 5-6 years ago, and some of these businesses are still ongoing today in Indonesia. It is not a new product. It has been sold in Indonesia for quite some time. So following that, I'll probably just go on. We will go through the open questions, and after that, I will try to look at the answered questions that came up. Next one is from Mr. Damawan. From PT Monsiaga Prima. So in retort food processing, some of them are processed or sterilized at 1:1. Food sterilization is 1:10. So don't worry, because the retort process again depends on the temperature and the time, right? So the reason why some people use lower temperature is because the equipment they have cannot heat. The actual highest retort temperatures that I know is around 130, but short time, right? So 1:10 also means probably the duration of the retort is a longer time. So it really depends on the material, but rest assured, MX Nylon has been able to withstand retort at least, I think, up to 127, 126, 127. So retort is not an issue with MX Nylon. Next question. What is the base resin of Maxif? This question I'll let Ryan answer.
Okay. Yeah, you can take the rest first. Take your drink and your table. Cup of coffee.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So Maxif is not the standard polyurethane based adhesive. It is actually a modified epoxy based product. So the process is slightly different as compared to the polyurethane based adhesive. I hope I have answered the question from Vivi.
So next question is from Mr. Robertus Jumadi. Oh, no. Yes, correct. So using arterial dosing, is it possible to mix PET and MX Nylon? Because have different carrier. Of course, this has been the adopted process in Indonesia due to the problem of high costs of multi-layer ISBM machines in the past, right? In the past, multi-layer injection machines only have one supplier, and the machines cost more than $10 million for a 72 cavity system. So most brand owners, even the NMCs, the global ones, some of the low cost, low selling price locations, they decided to use a blend solutions. And simple dosing system for pellet has been adopted and used in Indonesia. It is a very simple solution. In fact, if you order the right machine, in the morning, the setup, and I've been personally involved, morning setup of the dosing system, be it volumetric or gravimetric, there are both systems running in Indonesia, both volumetric and gravimetric. And the installation process takes very fast, takes 1 to 2 hours. And from the 3rd hour onwards, after a certain time of pre-drying, if it is in a bulk bag, so we can run the trials already in the afternoon. Very simple process for dosing. Very low cost for the doses. Reputable doses are also working with us, and we can ask for support for the costing. And it's been running in Indonesia. Simple dosing system. Simple dosing system. I want to highlight something very interesting. The multi-layer systems now, which was like the space cannot touch, too expensive in the past. Those systems now have been made to have smaller cavities. No more 72, we are talking about 32, 36, and from multiple sources, which means there's competition. And now the multi-layer solutions are very cost competitive and in smaller cavity size, which means you are no longer forced to invest in a very huge capex, but you can't be running like the global colas, right? It can be a domestic brand running a few 100,000 bottles a month, and you're able to use a small, lower cost multi-layer cavity ISBM system. And the price reductions will surprise you. They are in the factor of maybe 50, 60, 70, 80% nowadays. And there are also multiple solutions that are available. It can be new machines, and it can also be done in a retrofit. You can use your underutilized machines, and you can actually make those machines become multi-layer. The world has changed. The multi-layer solutions are now very cost competitive, and we really hope Indonesia, having a population of more than 250-60 million nowadays, adopt these newer technologies because the costs of those equipment has crashed. It is the best time for Indonesia to adopt these systems, because you will be able to achieve clear bottles, higher barrier properties, and very lightweight, strong bottles because of the multi-laminations. The time is actually very suitable for major preform manufacturers, converters, to look at the semi-rigid and rigid ISBM bottles now. Thank you. Last question from also Mr. Robertus is chemical structure is different. Can they mix compound? So I think this question is actually what Ryan showed originally at the start of the presentation of MX Nylon, and we are talking about the blend solutions and also some of the multi-layer solutions. Ryan showed the chart where we spoke about barrier properties over humidity. Actually, one of the key strengths of MX Nylon, why is it compatible to be blended into PET, is actually crystallization speed. So even you have similar processing range, or you have similar TG, but if the crystallization speed is different, then I think most of us in the plastics industry here will understand you have big issues with actually dimensional stability post molding or during blowing and post blowing, right? All these challenges will come. The good news is MX Nylon is able to work with PET because both the temperature processing ranges are similar and the crystallization speed is similar to PET. So it is a suitable candidate for blends and of course also for the multi-layers. And I want to bring up one very critical point. Why is this MX Nylon so different from normal nylon 6s? And this is a very simple answer. The answer is actually moisture absorption, hygroscopy. MX Nylon is a specialty nylon which has very low hygroscopy, water absorption, as compared to nylon 6. And this is why it is a suitable material that can be used in conjunction with dried or pre-dried PET. And also it strengthens nylon 6, right? And it also increases the barrier properties of nylon 6. And at the same time, there's a product that is made by certain converters, film manufacturers in Japan, where in Indonesia, especially where the lapis cake is a big industry, cakes is a big industry. And to protect those cakes, because high Dutch butter, very fragrant, very easy to turn rancid. So you need to block oxygen, you need to take out the oxygen. So in the industry, MGC is a leader. We also supply to this emerging market of Indonesian make steam cakes, Tokyo banana, small packets, right? This is a big market. So most of our customers that are doing all these specialty films for this market is actually following Japan's Tokyo banana solution.
So you mean the Tokyo banana packaging is come from you?
I just want to maybe explain. So in lapis cake, most of the people use nylon film, and the nylon film very thick and hazy and very difficult to cut open, right?
But you don't supply the banananya, right?
Yeah, sadly I don't supply the lapis or the banana. So yeah, so in Japan, actually those films are what we call very thin gauge, very clear.
In layer film, yeah.
Yes, and actually MX Nylon is a component of the multi-layer film. And MX Nylon's key function in the specialty nylon film is compared to the normal nylon films that is used in Indonesia lapis. The Japanese films used for the Tokyo banana cake is easy tear.
Yeah, that's
easy tear barrier nylon film. It's a simple product, very interesting product. And actually now you see it is actually now being adopted in Indonesia for all the single serve. You see all those steam cakes. I cannot mention the name, but those brands, if you go to the mini markets, right? You will see.
I think I know it.
Yes. So all those films are actually using all this special film material is based on material technology. And with the adoption of a product called ageless, which is also MGC's proprietary product. We were the inventors, the innovators for oxygen absorption sachets. Yeah, so it is a combination product. I also want to add maybe some information because I think the new questions are no more. So if you saw actually some of these products like teas, like juices, actually I want to restate, actually for a lot of these juices, the very interesting part, especially during COVID, and we've been getting a lot of requests, is actually they are facing problem of shipment, cannot sell. Normally fruits and such, they are supposed to be sold 30% ripe, 30% aging on the ship and reach customer. Hopefully you still have 30% time before they become fully ripe. But because of COVID, a lot of the products now are overripe, too ripe to be shipped. And a lot of manufacturers of all these fruits now have to convert their products into purees and juices. And this is where actually barrier materials, passive as well as active, has now become an increasing trend in Southeast Asia. And the key issue other than the vitamin C count is actually color. And sadly, color and vitamin C count comparison is not parallel. So the vitamin C count can still be high, but the juice drink, like mango, like pineapple, now become brown. Even though very high vitamin C count, but the cosmetic appearance become browning, cannot sell. So this is where barrier materials, be it passive using our specialty nylons or coatings, or in conjunction with an active component, be it in the resin, where we have partners, or be it as a separate sachet product, or a new type of flexible that we make called OMAC, can be utilized to block as well as to absorb oxygen. And this will be able to help manufacturers of all these fruits be able to overcome the problem of all these high value fruits from turning bad and losing value, right? Rotting. So we are able to use our solutions to help these customers to be able to convert all those overripe products into purees and juices and sell them globally using our packaging solutions. I hope that will be helpful to the customers.
Okay, good. But your task still not finished because there is remaining question. I will share with you by share screen. Okay, you can first from this because I have no time to rewrite, so I just crop to make it faster. Okay, question from Ferdinand. I wish it is still not explained. I think from the open question because I delivered this from the chatting column. Can MX Nylon mix into HDPE resin to make plastic jerry can with better oxygen barrier? I think yes, yeah, but you can explain more detail. How about its recyclability when MX Nylon has been mixed with the other resin? Just please your answer.
Yes, so Ferdinand, there are commercialized examples in the Far East. And at the moment, I think we have certain programs now in Indonesia where we are exploring the blending of MX Nylon into the olefins for receptacles of various products, food and non-food. So we are in the process. There are different ways of applying it, but a simple way is just to do a blend. But key point to note is, of course, sadly, because if you're mixing a barrier material into a non-barrier olefin, this would also mean that the dosage of the specialty barrier material like MX Nylon, the dosages will be high. So the cost of a simple blending of MX Nylon into the HDPE material to increase the barrier, if it is a blend solution, will come from high dosage of the expensive MX Nylon. And recyclability issues, I think we are in the midst of going through multiple locations for the recyclability of MX Nylon. At the moment, as I mentioned earlier, we have already gotten approvals from the Americas, Europe, Japan for recyclability in a certain percentage of the recycle stream for MX Nylon in certain types of packaging. The different regions actually have different types of qualifications. I think the HDPE side is something that we will need to explore. Yeah, but there are different regulations for different locations. It depends on actually where yourself or your customers are looking at. From experience, we actually know that certain customers, because the origins are different, so their requirements can be different. Yeah, so American customers will require American recycling qualifications. European customers will require European qualification standards for recycling. And these standards are like Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean. The standards are totally different because the people running these organizations are different. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I hope Ferdinand can satisfied with this explanation. Then go to another question from Bapak Sodi Skandar from CV Aceh Prima Kreasindo. How friendly Mitsubishi Chemicals products with has presented to SME in Indonesia?
Oh, no, we are already selling. We've been selling this, I think maybe since 2005, 2006. So MX Nylon is readily available in Indonesia. We are also open to supplying the barrier coatings like Maxif as well as the Altester to Indonesia.
Okay, you supply the nylon, yeah,
Not
the nylons, the coatings,
not
and
the banana cake from Japan. Okay.
Yeah, we go through and we have existing channels. We have a stockist and local distributor support at the
Pak
moment.
Sony. So it's opportunity for you, Pak Sony. Okay, so we can go to the next question. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Manufacture.
Yeah, so Ibu, this one you can translate for me. My bahasa nggak cukup.
Yeah, okay. So what the question from Anne Fabiansa is regarding the wastewater treatment plan for plastic. Do you have the research and development program for water treatment, the waste treatment for plastics more useful? So it's about the 3R or 5R, recycle, reuse, and recovery for plastic.
Yeah, so when you talk about the R's, it becomes a big question and it's very difficult to answer here. But for recyclability, as I mentioned, now we are qualified for, well, all the big brand owner countries, right? Americas, we are qualified. Europe's, we are qualified according to special conditions and dosage back into the recycling line. I want to state something very clearly. MX Nylon is not poison. The main reason why a lot of brand owners or converters tell the brand owner we don't want it is because of a color shift issue. The nylons, like minyak, when you cook many times, become yellow. Why I change? So in order to overcome this, MGC has worked with machine manufacturer and come up with special grade that has already received US APR qualification. So does not impact the color of the recycle stream. So all this already done, qualifications are already there. But alternatively, for actually blend solutions, MGC is also qualified as a blend solution to be used in non-US locations, actually. If you look at a lot of liquor brands, and liquor brands, depending on whether they are oxygen sensitive or not, actually, we are also involved in bottles which are dark color, may or may not have oxygen scavenging properties, right? May be passive or may be active. And these are actually used in a lot of the liquor bottles that you see in the Middle East and in Europe now, right? Hopefully, we will also see those solutions, liquor bottles, tinted with color, right? And here the color issue comes. You know, the other problem is always about UV, right? And this was highlighted in the presentation with Altester. So for certain issues, certain products, if you don't have color or you don't have any UV cut, then the energies from all this high frequency light energy will of course impact at least the optical property of the product, right?
Yeah, correct.
So this, sadly, some products will require tinting. And that is where actually we have got European qualifications for tinted blends for MX Nylon and PET. And of course, in the presentation for Altester, you saw this new amorphous PET, high temperature, clear, and is able to reflect the UV range up to a very high range. And that will, of course, help to maintain for a longer period of time certain colors required of the content of the bottle. I hope this response is sufficient.
I can give some additional information for Pak An. Pak An, actually, if a company has stated that they have sustainability product, so it means their company has commitment to implement at least 3R, recycle, reuse, and recovery. So they have that facility in their company. So that's why they state they have the sustainability product. Is it correct, Mr. Lim? Yeah. So once you state or any kinds company state that we produce sustainability product or we support sustainability program, so it means that company at least have the minimum facility to do the recycle, reuse, and recovery of their products. Begitu Pak Aan. Jadi sebagai tambahan saja, jika suatu perusahaan sudah men-state bahwa dia memiliki sustainability product atau sustainability program, berarti perusahaan tersebut memiliki komitmen bahwa mereka minimal memiliki fasilitas untuk melaksanakan 3R, reuse, recycle, recovery, karena minimum 3R itu yang menjadi kebutuhan minimal untuk perusahaan untuk men-step dia bahwa dia mensupport program sustainable. Seperti itu Pak Aan, mudah-mudahan terjawab ya Pak Aan ya. Feel free Pak, jika ada yang masih belum ini bisa bertanya lagi, mumpung kita masih punya waktu dan para expert masih ada di sini, jadi silahkan untuk kita diskusi lebih lanjut. Baik, next another. Okay, so it is no questions. Okay, so I can stop first. I have look from the chatting with if there is still remaining questions. I think this done.
So maybe I will also add to the sustainability question. The whole global system is actually not up. So what MGC endeavors to do is actually to try to meet the recyclability requirements in very big geographic regions like Europe and US, because these two regions are actually the key drivers, because the brand owners, most of them are from these two locations. So MGC's recyclability qualifications primarily, of course, started in Japan because we are a Japanese company, but we have gotten and we will continue to get more qualifications with regards to recyclability rates and methods of recyclability in US and in Europe. And at the same time, I want to highlight something very interesting. I'm sure the whole sustainability discussion is very convoluted, confusing. But I want to add something that if you are an energy provider and your source of energy is geothermal, not from fossil fuel, MGC is actually a geothermal energy supplier in Japan. We draw on the volcanoes and the magma in the core to get the heat to create the electricity to run or provide utility to the regions, right? And also MGC, as stated in our declarations to the industry, actually we are also one of the first companies to successfully run our waste to methanol pilots, and it will be scaled up. So in terms of even the energy consumption, we are able to do some balancing with naturally available energy, and even the feedstock for a lot of the products that we're baking, we are now able to have the key technology in place, be it from a non-food source biomaterial or from waste, to be able to meet high quality polymers that will be able to support the food, pharma, beverage, as well as the engineering sectors. To be honest, our bio-based products has been around for near to 10 years.
Okay.
But the plant scale was meant for high value electronics products that you hold in your hand every day or put in your ear every day. But now, because of all these requirements or aspirations of the global customers, we are actually scaling up all those products to be able to support in a small way the food and the beverage industry as well.
Okay, so there is some missing from question, Bapak, Ibu, silakan untuk bisa ditanyakan kembali mumpung kita masih ada waktu. Saya lihat Pak Ferdinand, apakah sudah bisa menjawab? Bagaimana di Surabaya, Pak Ferdinand? Kabarnya baik-baik semua, pandemi di sana. Salam buat Pak Jeliarko ya, Pak Ferdinand. Ferdinand from Holland Colors Asia, so he very concerned about some issue. Okay.
I would welcome collaboration with Holland Colors because they have magic white color to reflect UV energy, suitable for mixing with MX Nylon and PET.
But still maintain the sustainability, yeah.
I think there's
okay, there is somebody can. Okay, yeah. But the particle become issue for the for the pigment, because fine particles still in under observation how to make the fine particle become more secure and safe for health for people who work with this fine particle. Talking
Yeah,
about the bigger size particle, it is okay, but once you are working with the very fine particle, it's very dusty and very insecure for the people who are working in the area.
Yes,
Okay.
Ibu Ayu, I'm
So
very grateful. I'm very grateful you mentioned this part about fine particles. In the world, there are certain other technologies that has already been adopted, but some of these technologies will have certain issues. MGC is a firm believer in the coating process. Some of this coating process, of course, comes from the adoption using plasma energy and fine particles, including nanoparticles. However, I have questions as to how the safety issues of very fine nanoparticles, because I'm not sure whether the coating materials based on nanoparticles are actually CFR or FDA approved, because as you mentioned, fine particles are more difficult to be purged in the human body if consumed. If certain coating processes energy levels
very dusty.
are high. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to comment further, but I'm not sure of the safety levels of nanoparticles. Thank you.
Correct. Okay. So anything else we need to us, or someone still concerned for something or still missing? Just please feel free. Mr. Lee, Mr. Ryan, and other Mitsubishi Gas Chemical team still available for us for today.
I want to add one little.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Yeah, one little statement. There's a huge opportunity to any preform manufacturer that is able to provide multi-layer commercialized technology using MX Nylon to global CSD manufacturers presently. Huge opportunities. Yeah. We hope.
Okay, we still in discussion session now, still not conclusion. So you can make some remarks after the conversations. Okay, if there is nobody deliver the questions anymore, then okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so the question stops. We will not receive any question anymore. Then before we go to the conclusion session, I will give to Miss Lydia first for the third polling session.
Terima kasih banyak Ibu Ayu. Ya, mungkin nanti Bapak Ibu yang masih ingin bertanya boleh langsung saja. Untuk saat ini kita akan mengambil waktu sejenak kembali untuk sesi polling terakhir kami. Bapak Ibu sekalian, kami mohon untuk dapat berpartisipasi aktif. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take a moment for our last polling. Kindly participate for this polling, please. Oke, sudah muncul polling terakhir kami di device Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Are there any of you of your company's product which MGS MXD6 Maxif Altester be of interest? Would you want MGC to contact you after webinar? If you want to contact it by the MGC, please click yes. I would like to contact it by MGC and or click no. Baik, Bapak Ibu sekalian, kami mohon kesediaannya untuk partisipasi aktif untuk memilih salah satu. Baik, polling session akan kami close. Oke, akan muncul nanti untuk jawabannya nanti akan kami langsung kirimkan kepada MGC. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu sudah berpartisipasi aktif untuk polling session terakhir kami. Dan untuk selanjutnya, saya akan serahkan kembali ke moderator kami untuk conclusion atau closing statement. Terakhir mungkin dari para pembicara atau dari Ibu Ayu sendiri. Silahkan Ibu Ayu, saya persilahkan kembali.
Iya, baik. Terima kasih Ibu Lydia.
Okay, thank you very much for all the very great speakers today and with the very great informations, knowledge, and now we understand more details. What is the recent developments related with the packaging materials? I wish all the participants also can understand, and I believe according to the polling testings result, they need to ask the team from the MGC for more. So you will have a busy time after this session probably, and so many emails coming. Then please reply all the people. So I believe your business will increase after this session. Oke, apa yang akan saya simpulkan bahwa very short conclusions that Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals produce very healthy, I think, okay, so I will not use the very. MGC produce environmentally products referring to the sustainability programs or at least there are three range of products which mentioned in the presentation, and also for a coordination discussion in the question and answers box. It's confirmed that Mitsubishi Gas Chemicals has the best solution for us who are working with the packaging area to give the sustainability material for all us for the packaging user. Yeah. So the short sentence is the MGC produce health materials for support the sustainability program. Thank you. Then I will give the opportunity for Ryan or for Mr. Lim to also make some underline, highlight a remark from this session's discussion. Please, Pak Lim.
Thank you, Ibu
I'm
Ayu.
still mute.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am very grateful to the attendees for your endurance because pre-start we had 100 plus, and now after 1 hour 15 minutes we still have 118. So I'm very grateful to your continued interest in the discussion and your time. We will endeavor to respond to your questions and projects with the best of our ability after this webinar. We hope to work with you virtually through the internet, as well as through our local partners in Indonesia to support Indonesian adopting barrier solutions for a country that has such a big population size, delicious coffee and cake. We hope your products can have longer shelf life and have the ability to be exported globally. Thank you for your time. Ryan and Miyabe-san and Toyohara-san and also Mukasa-san, please give your last comments before we call it a day today. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for joining us this time for this webinar. I hope that our information sharing has been useful for your projects and your considerations. But feel free to contact us to have a more in-depth discussions, because I think there are also some concerns or some questions that attendees may be shy to ask via the chat. So feel free to contact us after the email, after the webinar via email, or our contact numbers are also as shown in the presentation. I will just thank everybody for joining us and thank the panelists and Ibu Ayu and Mr. Albert Lim for sharing all this, for moderating the webinar. Thank you so much.
日本の方々どうぞ。
Thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions, please visit our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Miyabe-san, Mr. Albert Lim, Mr. Ryan Tan. So now we stop our discussion. Then before we leave, then I will ask to Mbak Lydia to continue. Oh, sorry, there are still ones. Wait. Okay, there are still one missing, but it is concern also goes to my
mobile phone, so many message. They need your contact number from Mitsubishi Chemical. I said, panitia, Bu Lydia ya, Pamerindo will share the contact person, Mr. Lim, Mr. Ryan, or Mea Bensang through the email for the participant, right, Mbak Lydia?
Yes, betul
Okay,
Ibu.
so confirm
Informasi
bapak-bapak
lebih-
yang tadi ada yang Oke, bapak-bapak yang tadi chatting ke saya dan yang kirim WA ke saya juga nanti akan di-share alamat kontak person detail mengenai Mitsubishi Chemicals melalui email atau mungkin oke di sini juga ada. Silakan Pak. Di telepon saya bacakan aja ya. Di Singapura 6224 0059. Saya ulang, plus 65 6224 0059 atau bisa email langsung. There is no your private email, Mr. Lim or Ryan, and send off to the MX Nylon email.
So the email actually says
You
to
can
both of us.
bapak-bapak.
The email is linked to two.
Oke, bapak-bapak bisa kirim email dulu sementara mungkin ke MX Nylon. Oh, oke. The email link ya ke to mxnylon@mgcs.com.sg. Ini nge-link semua ke Mr. Ryan juga Mr. Lim juga ke Takabesang. Baik ya bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu yang tadi WA ke saya, yang juga chatting direct ke saya tidak punya hutang lagi ya, semua sudah saya jawab. Baik, saya kembalikan ke Mbak Lydia. Terima kasih, silakan Mbak Lydia.
I will just add,
Yes.
Ibu Ayu. So the QR code at the bottom right, once you scan the QR code, you could just scan it and then it will automatically compose an email for you, not automatically lah. So you automatically write in the email address to send it to us.
Oke. So bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu juga bisa lihat dari kode yang ada di depan sini, mungkin bisa di scan. Tapi kalau enggak, saya ada kirim email juga tuh Pak. Bapak bisa ngambil ke sini. Saya coba jawab ya sebentar. Nah, Bapak Pramas ya sudah ya. So there is no remaining anymore. I have no any pending issue with myself for all the participants. So I will give to Miss Lydia. Thank you.
Terima kasih banyak Ibu Ayu. Terima kasih banyak. Jadi Bapak Ibu yang tadi sudah capture nanti boleh langsung dihubungi saja ya Bapak Ibu ya. Sekali lagi sungguh luar biasa hari ini. Saya terima kasih kepada Ibu Ayu, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Albert, and Mr. Takanori from Mitsubishi Gas Chemical Singapore. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing according our time sustainable packaging solution. It's such a great update and information. Terima kasih juga saya ucapkan kepada seluruh partisipan yang sudah bergabung dalam webinar kami hari ini. Sungguh luar biasa sekali. Pastinya semua ini merupakan solusi dari teknologi yang dapat digunakan untuk membantu dan meningkatkan siklus kemasan agar bisa lebih panjang. Otomatis konsumsi juga lebih terkontrol dan pastinya lebih sehat untuk masa depan bumi kita. Dan Bapak Ibu sekalian, mari kita dukung industri kita, jadikan momen ini untuk kita lebih bangkit lagi, dan mudah-mudahan dengan adanya joint kolaborasi antar pemain industri seperti hari ini Plastic and Rubber Indonesia dengan Mitsubishi Gas Chemical dapat menjadi kunci kita menghadapi new normal sehingga lebih produktif dan efisien, terutama dalam proses recovery roda ekonomi kita ke depannya, khususnya pasti di industri plastik and karet di Indonesia dari hulu ke hilir. Baik, pastikan Bapak Ibu juga tidak lupa untuk follow sosial media kami, yaitu LinkedIn dan Facebook kami, agar tidak tertinggal informasi dari kami. Bapak dan Ibu bisa lihat di device Bapak Ibu sudah muncul Facebook dan LinkedIn kami, yaitu Plastik dan Rubber Indonesia. Dan karena nanti kami akan selalu berbagi macam informasi dan berita industri yang akan kami update di sosial media kami. Dan tiba juga kita di penghujung acara. Bapak Ibu, kami mohon maaf apabila ada kekurangan dalam webinar hari ini. Tetap sehat, tetap semangat, tetap produktif juga untuk kita semua, dan pastinya sampai berjumpa lagi di webinar selanjutnya. Akhir kata, saya Lydia Citra mewakili tim Plastic and Rubber Indonesia, pamit undur diri. Selamat makan siang Bapak Ibu, terima kasih telah hadir. Bapak, Ibu, kemudian Mr. Ryan, Mr. Albert, and tim Mitsubishi. Before we close the Zoom, I invite all speakers and Ibu Ayu untuk open the camera. We may have a group photo session first to capture this moment.
I always open my camera.
for Mitsubishi team.
皆さん、写真撮りましょう。日本の方々、写真撮りましょう。ビデオをオンしてください。Thank you.
Wait a moment.
All right, let's start again. Please, everyone, don't forget. All right, 3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3. We will capture. Don't forget to smile. One more. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Albert.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Ibu Ayu, thank you so much.
So
Okay.
I'm going to Mr. Lin, Mr. Ryan, TKB Tanam Gesang also. Just please come to
so
Jakarta
much.
after pandemic finish. Okay.
Sate Senayan.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Terima kasih banyak, Ibu.
Selamat siang.
Thank you,
Tetap
Albert.
sehat.
Thank you, Ryan.
Stay healthy, all.
Alright, thank you everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Yeah. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.